We were talking earlier in the show, Michael, about OTAs getting underway, 20 teams today. We got 10 tomorrow, and then the Eagles and Bengals getting started later on next week. But how important this time is for team building, for tone setting, to build a culture. You don't think about the offseason as meaning that much, but it really, really is important for these teams.
It really is, because what's happening is now this is the first time you are collectively bringing new players into your team, and we're calling it a team. Before, it was off-season workouts, so guys were coming in, lifting weights, working with their position coaches. But now we are actually forming a team, and we have to bond that team. We have to get everybody a sense of belonging, because that's part of what we are as human beings. We want to belong to a team. It gives us our inspiration, our endorphins release, and it becomes something that we look forward to. And you have to incorporate the players into this. It used to be in the day, when I first started my career, it was, okay, however you prove yourself before you become a team member. Well, that's not how it's going to work now. So there has to be the job of the head coach is to integrate the players in and have a sense of belonging so that they feel part of the team, and convince them that this is how we operate within a culture. And it starts today. It starts on how you practice, how you prepare, how you are a professional, how you take your job seriously. And I think that's the lessons that have to be transformed into this today. I think this is what we learned from watching the difference between the Celtics and the difference between the Miami Heat. We could say Spoelstra out-coaches Missoula, maybe, but the Heat understand what it takes and their roles clearly better than what the Boston Celtics do.
So as we take this core idea and put it into a betting perspective, I mentioned last segment that there are a number of different DraftKings markets up right now for, in addition to season win totals, they have most wins, the last team to be undefeated this season, to start a team 5-0. Yes, obviously schedule is going to play a big part of that, but I think coaches and teams that are better than others at establishing that identity and culture and are going to have more of that success faster as well. So are there any teams or coaches that are better at doing that in the offseason that can set them up for early success?
I think the Chiefs particularly. Andy understands how to do that, right? He has a chance. He understands how to kind of work his team in and prepare them for the season. He uses training camp really as an old school methodology. I mean, he's not one of these guys that backs off. They have contact. He stays within the rules. He prepares his team so he can start faster. He can play at a higher level. Same thing with the Buffalo Bills. McDermott, he comes from the same Andy Reid level. The Patriots are going to go to training camp, and they're going to do the things they have to do in all three phases. So those are the teams. I think the ones you have to be worried about starting slowly are the ones that don't really practice. I mean, last year we learned from the Denver Broncos. We could have asked Vic Lombardi. They didn't practice. They didn't have any contact. We just want to keep everybody healthy, and we just want to make sure everything's okay, and then they get to the first real battle. They played nobody in the preseason. And so the team wasn't ready. I think you have to really understand how to get a team ready for the opening day game and how to get them ready for the month of September, because it does impact the season. I mean, the last 5 years, we've seen teams that start well in September end up getting to the Super Bowl.
The Chiefs, who you mentioned off the top, and Andy Reid are the favorite to have the most regular season wins at 4-1. They're also the second shortest shot to be the last undefeated team, plus 850. The Eagles, the favorite there because of the strength of schedule that they have. It's interesting with Philadelphia, their opponent win percentage from last year has them with the most difficult schedule on paper, but when you look at win totals for this season, it's actually 24th, and they've got a relatively easy start to the season as well. For most regular season wins, though, let's look at that one and who you think has the best opportunity to be the regular season leader when all is said and done.
Well, I mean, obviously Philadelphia, because of the teams that they have proven that they can beat. Washington beat them last year. I think the Bengals are a team. I think that North is going to be a little bit better. I think the East is going to be better, while Buffalo might not have the most wins. My sense of it is the Chiefs are probably placed right at plus 400. But, you might want to say, you might want to look at the 49ers. I know their win total went down, but if they get that quarterback thing worked out, they certainly could have the most wins. I mean, basically what we're talking about is what team do you think is going to have home field advantage, get the number one seed in the NFC and the AFC? Right now, it's the two teams that had it last year. Does that always work? No, that never works. You know, if you want to take a flyer, I would say take a flyer on the Bills, and I would take a flyer probably on the 49ers.
I'm looking at the team to start 5-0, and the 49ers aren't even in the top 8 of odds for this one. Yet I'm looking at their start of the schedule, which is pretty interesting because, yes, they start on the road back-to-back games, but it's at Pittsburgh and at L.A. Rams. Then they have the New York Giants, the Arizona Cardinals, and the Dallas Cowboys would be the toughest one of that 5-game stretch to start off the season. But I think that could be an interesting long shot bet as well for the first 5 wins.
No question. I think a lot of that is only because nobody knows who the quarterback is, Stormy.
Yeah.
And last year, the effect of losing the opening game in Chicago, understanding the weather was a disaster, but Trey Lance not being ready to go, going through the whole offseason and thinking he was ready to be the starting quarterback. I think that has an effect. I think a little bit of this is again, I think a lot of these numbers are predicated on how you view your coach, what he has. I mean, if you'd have told me the Giants would have started as fast as they did last year, I would have said no, but they found a way to win those close games early in the season, which gave them the start that they needed because their finish wasn't very strong until they beat Minnesota in the playoffs.
And there are a lot of these teams that seem obvious on paper as being contenders for it. But if I'm hauling up my money for this amount of time before I'm able to cash one of these tickets, I want to look a little bit farther down the board. I want to see what kind of fun numbers that we can get. So it's worth it to see what you can find here. Now, we talk about teams that are going to have a lot of success. But how about the flip side of that and teams that are going to be pretty awful? I know that we have felt pretty on par with the bottom of that NFC West in the Arizona Cardinals and the Los Angeles Rams being pretty brutal. The Texans introducing a new quarterback and a new head coach and a lot of struggles as well. Fewest regular season wins and last team to finally get a win. Any feelings there?
You know, I got to think, the Rams, the way that schedule starts for the Rams, and if they get to a point where they decide, hey, this isn't really and Stafford gets hurt, just say he gets hurt. To me, at 10-1, they could qualify for the, we had Booger McFarland on yesterday, and they could qualify for the Caleb Williams sweepstakes. I mean, the Cardinals, we know they're not going to have a quarterback. I think this is all related to your trusted quarterback. Think about this. We have basically, we have Colt McCoy. We have maybe C.J. Stroud, Davis Mills. We have Kyle Trask, Baker Mayfield, and then we have Matthew Stafford. And then we have Sam Howell. Those numbers are all related to the quarterback. They're all related to the quarterback. I mean, the Raiders are 12-1. It's got to be related to the schedule because Garoppolo, when he plays, wins games.
Mm-hmm. I'm shocked and I'm disappointed that the prop for will any team go 0-17 is only 10-1. This is something that's only happened 3 times in NFL history, and you're only giving me 10-1?
I mean, seriously. I think that, I mean, that to me seems that's one of those where they don't want you to play it, right? I mean, because you and I both know as bad. I mean, when I was at the Raiders in 2003, 2004 with Art Shell as the head coach, I mean, we were one of the worst teams. I mean, we won 2 games. I don't know how we won 2. We beat Pittsburgh. I don't even know how we did it. Like, it's hard to go winless. It's really hard. I mean, I think Hugh Jackson might want to write a book on how I accomplished this. It's a challenge.
It is. I'm looking at the numbers right now. The 3 teams, 2017, the Browns, we know 0-16, the 2008 Detroit Lions, and then you have to go all the way back to 1976 when the Bucs went 0-14. Nobody's done it with the 17-game schedule. But
they were an expansion team.
I know.
They were an expansion team.
Yeah. Ridiculous.
With a college head coach. I mean, it was the dynamics of that team was really bad. Hugh Culverhouse, Ron Wolf's the general manager. They hire Hugh Culverhouse's buddy John McKay, and they run a college offense. No wonder why they lost all those games.
And they're only giving us 10-1. Only 13-1 for a team to be perfect and win all 17. Come on, sportsbooks. Be better. Give us some fun. Give us the long shot numbers. If you want to take my money, I will give it to you. Just give me a better number for it. That's all I'm asking for.
Go to VSiN.com/subscribe to become a VSiN Pro subscriber today.